Alright folks, welcome back. It's Monday again, reset day. It is week 4. Uh, this is a bye week, so no milestones today. The off week on filling in the milestones, and then we'll see the conclusion next week. So let's get right into it. Last week was relatively quick. Yes, we found that most of the quest line leads to the same places like Skull Fortress. Some little inklings of the undead, right? The undead, and perhaps securing an artifact that elicits the undead. And won't know until next one. As per usual, we typically move the milestone to the next day, largely due to the way milestones are structured. And I typically don't overflow currency. So this week, I think it comes out to what? We have two weeklies, then we have an activity, so that's 60. We'll do heroics, which is 80, and then a full set of repeatables, which is 4, because now we have 2 characters with repeatables. So then that would make 100, and then we get to see the conclusion next week. Let's get right into it. Shall we? And hopefully we can find a run or two. Since then, I have had a lot of after-hour experiences with the Dread Sanctums. We'll see if we can get one. Last week we settled for 2 Imperial Citadels. I mean, my character, the Paladin, is 3 runs away, so we have time, and we'll do that too. Oh, we finished these 2. Alright. See, let's put the map. So this is the new one. Alright. So let's get to completing. Very relaxing day today. Chilling. Thinking about my thoughts. Maybe we'll enter another involved discussion about something. Alright. We're heading this way. I do our weeklies. Off to the hollow first. Right. Don't think it's, you know what? Let's run this and see what happens if I defeat myself at the campfire. I think that's probably faster, right? Do a campfire run. Especially on this guy. It made it! Okay. He's unnecessarily fragile. Oh no. Did they not go away? This is a good test. They just chill there? Huh. Maybe Just the immediate group. Yeah, because that's their default location, huh? Alright. We can do campfire runs. So there you go. Campfire runs OP. This guy has become so fragile because the equipment's like 3 modules ago. Alright. So that's one. Now let's get down here. Okay. Why is that pointing? Dude, I highlighted this and it just bounces back to the other one. Can you not do that, please? Alright. So which one is lost cache? Something else? Okay. Oh, this is where we find butterflies. The scouts. Okay. Friendly. Certainly like quest hour interactables. Where are they? Kind of hard to see. Oh, you have to go into the spot first. Wait. The heck is highlight? Oh. Okay. Oh, they're right next to each other. Oh, interesting. What was this? I had to collect 2 supplies in this region. Is this the doggo place? Yes, the doggo places. The cobalt. Huh. Don't mind me relieving you of your supplies. On the name of survival. Collect dry wood. Build a fire. Really? Does the dry... Oh. Okay, on top of the planks. There one over there? Oh no, it's just a coincidence. Anyone seen a very, very particular board anywhere? Oh, okay. Alright. Build a fire. Now, where do you want me to build a fire? Right in the middle? Alright. Okay. Burn the supplies. Wow. They just burn the supplies right where they chill. Pretty savage, actually. And then we have to go to Sky Fortress. I mean, Skull Fortress. Okay. Okay. Gotta get my pathing down. Alright. Alright. I don't think you can shortcut this. There's an invisible barrier here. You can't like leap down without interacting with the lever. Yeah. I think I found... It's an invisible door wall, so probably faster to eliminate groups and run over every single trap. Unless I can dodge that one. Ooh. You can avoid that one. Okay. Companion change. Still in combat? What the? Okay, maybe I can't. Oh, those are the res targets probably. Or the ones that were animating. Okay. Alright. Ugh. The 8 billion years suck. The life force strain. Go ahead. I know you want to do that attack. We'll take our turns. Okay. Canyon swap. Alright. So that's 40. Right? 40. Taking out some peeps. When we turn in our quests, should hit the daily activity quota. And then we have to move to a instance to do heroics. And that's it for one character. I'll repeat it 2 more times. Alright. Let's turn these bad boys in. Oh, wait. I think I missed one. Oh, I did. I think I missed one. What am I missing? Usually there's... Are you serious? This isn't complete? Where is this even pointing to? Oh my goodness. That's kind of aggravating. Just a wee bit aggravating. Alright. That cost us like 5 minutes. Ugh. Alright, where is this? Yes, yes, yes. Drag everyone along with you. Alright. Are you serious? Come on. Wasn't even near you. Alright. And then, yes. Please, game. And then one more. Nope. Alright, maybe 3 minutes. Slightly aggravating. Alright. Guess it's time to look at instant swapping. Looks like 8 might be okay. We'll grab the. Okay. Grab these. Don't really need to do them this time around. Turn in these. That 84%. Are you serious? Okay. Alright. So. 8. 10. 6. Going to 6. Where the... Okay. Maybe 6 was not ideal. I guess we can do this while we're at it. Is this the parkour thing? No. What? There no F? Oh. Oh. So you want me to emote? Are you serious? You wanted me to emote? Perform an emote? Okay. I don't remember what the commands are actually. Is that really what they want? Oh, this is kind of cute. No? What? Oh, they mean like this. Oh. Oh, that's kind of cute. I like that. Oh, you're going around, messing around with peeps. Okay, now what do you want me to taunt? Intriguing. Oh, I like this. I like this quest. Don't mind me. Alright, fine. Intriguing. So we are stealing the undead rum. Bring the rum back to Dancing Red. Alright. Gosh, hop please. Gotta get some ups. Alright. I was expecting the parkour thing. It looks like they added another. Oh my gosh. I'm like spending 90% of your time clipping on rocks. Okay. There you go, buddy. Neat. So 8 belt. Bells. Oh. That's what they mean. Okay. Alright. So that guy was using shorthand. How the... Second pathing. Alright. Let's see if the cavalry comes along. Yeah, like how half the people say lighthouse and half the people say bell. You wouldn't know what bell is unless... Wait. Actually, maybe bell is something else. Oh, just kidding. Interesting. Oh, that's confusing. I'm like, wait a minute. Lighthouse is in the bell. Like the ringing bells, I remember. Okay. Good people. They have a timer. Whoever the color is has a timer on these things. It's just one person. I think it's just one person. Feels lonely. Sink this in. Oh, I see 2. Or, no, just 1. Oh, wait. No, I see 2. Okay. Yeah, lighthouse is a thing for you guys. Something to build on. Do this repeatable for next week. Hmm. I'm gonna find 3. Nope. 9. 9 seems good. Ritual. Where is ritual? Oh. Okay. 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 Nice. Heroic encounter rewards. Oh, wait. Hold. What? Oh. Oh. Where are they going? Three. Wait. Where am I? 9. 9 to bells. Oh, I see. This guy's out first. Okay. Okay. Somehow, like, the boss aimed at me first and then knew exactly where I was gonna land. Interesting. Okay. Alright, where are we going? Lighthouse? Ah! I swear. I swear. How long are we're already past 30 minutes? Not quite. Not quite the speed of last week. Largely due to heroic encounters. Yeah, this one we don't even have to interact with the catapult. It's clear. Oh no, we do have to interact with the catapult. Wait. Ah, I see someone. Okay. Or maybe not. Oh yeah, yeah. Come on. Wait till they get unstunned and then stun them again, you know? Okay. Neat. Alright. Wow, you have a lot of HP. The heck? Alright. Well, there we go. 33 minutes? We'll call it 30 minutes. I think we can do it in 30. Should be 20 away, right? Oh. Oh, did we finish our activity? Yeah, we did. Okay. Okay. Should be able to turn in our activities. Yeah, there we go. Alright. That's a wrap for June 1. Pick our vanity pet. Okay. Alright. Take 2. Excuse me. Yes. Go. One up here. Do this. I think we can jump this or hit a tree and die. Yep. Classic terrain. Yeah, it's more or less the same. Okay. Okay. Can avoid this one. Yoink. Bye now. Yoink. All right. Excuse me. All right. Off to the hollow. Gotta collect shrooms. Or actually, we already collected a shroom last week. Gotta collect our herbs. Do you have one over here? No. Oh, I see one. Yep. All right, nice. Did a little bit of work on last week. Get in here. All right, do the run. What? Keep hitting the wrong thing. All right. Okay. All right. Off we go. Next one, next one. No supplies. We just did this. Alright. Oh, someone already cleared the place. Nice. Got this. You guys here. Okay. Grab this. Then the planks. There's one up here. The wood. One here. Oh, come on. Built the fire. Burned the supplies. Okay. I don't know what this is though. Kernels. Oh. Annoying to doesn't do proximity at all. Okay. And that leads us to Skull Fortress. Ah, bruisers. Actually, I think we can go into Skull Fortress and collect the bruisers. Maybe not. Let's just take care of these guys. Gather up. Let's go, folks. Okay. One more. Okay. Flat. Fortress. All right. Okay. All right. Try not to hit every single trap along the way. Oh, no, there's one. Let me in. Oh, wait. Aww. Okay. Canyon swap. Let's go. Yeah, suck on this. Imagine having range. Good talk. Alright. Go back. Alright. Well, that's it. Now we're looking for encounters. Back to one of the favorite activities, pastimes. Looking for heroic encounter. Alright. Let's turn these guys in. Grab these. Oof. Butterfly scout. These. Turn these in. Alright. 40 seconds. Should be at 60. 81% activate. That's good enough. After heroic encounters should complete. What is this? Trapper. Okay. Number 4 is active. Four and 8. On a 4. Ritual. Right here. Making pretty decent time. Okay, someone said rituals and then decide to head the other direction. Alright, cool. I think there might be trappers here. Chilling. Oh, there's the cavalry. Alright guys, wanna go in? Alright, well, we're going in. Death. Thanks for helping. If you don't know how to call properly, don't call. Dang. Love it how I built the train and monkey tried to call. Well, good old Zone chatter. I guess they're going Bell next, right? That seems to be the way of things now. Bell, then Lighthouse. Spicy. There's some spicy name calling. Where are my peeps at? Hello? Or not? Did they go to Fang? Where the heck did they go? Number 4, Merc? The heck is Merc? Well. Oh, the collar is gone. All right. Okay. Nope. That was inconvenient. We're making great time. And then someone calls. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go. Bang it is. And then people say, whoops. Okay. So what does whoops mean? Oh my gosh. Now we're going back to ritual. You know what? I'm gonna grab the butterflies. Yep. Only 3 people there because you told everyone to go to a different place and decided to not follow through with it. Who would have thought that was going to happen? And on over there. Heroic encounters. The Great Equalizer. Bygone design. Okay. Now can we go to Bell now? Mayhaps? Nope. That guy is just like, I got everyone here. Let's peace out. Okay. Neat. Alright. Let's just head to Bell. Maybe I'll type. Off? Oh. Okay. I was just about to type Bell and then someone else typed something. Okay. Alright. My gosh, heckin' terrain. Alright. That's it. We're good. Less than 30 minutes. Not bad, not bad. I'll take it. Okay. Good to go. Let's collect our vanity pet. Amazing. Okay. Last but not least. Take 3. Do herbal recovery, then head to Hollow. Wait, gather everything? Oh no, leap and replenish. Okay. 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 Next one, next one. Yoink. How? Alright, I guess we're just grabbing everyone along the way. Thanks. Yoink. Regis, please. Oh my gosh, pathing. Which direction is this? Okay. Alright. Might as well switch. Okay. Go Feather Hollow. Go. All right. Do the run. Okie dokie. Oops. Imagine having a dodge and a boost in movement. Okay. All right. All right. Get out of my face, please. All right. Well, eviction. Not sure which one's eviction. This is where we take out peeps? Yeah. Oh, we already took out some peeps. All right. No hard feelings, guys. All right. Something to build on. Are these the little plank things? Or not? Oh, yeah, it is. Friendly? Friendly. Don't mind me. Friendly. Dang it. You guys are in the way. Sorry. Okie dokie. All fortress. Coming through. Friendly. Oops, wrong button. Okay. Well. All right. Okay. Well. And heroic encounters, right? Looks like it. Usually the Dreadnought is the quickest, largely due to the combination of encounter-based magnitude, a movement speed boost that isn't stamina heavy, based on cooldown, have a shield, right, and so on. Very, very quick. All right. Turn these in. Oh, I missed one. Oh, why do I have a feeling? Don't tell me it. Oh, wait, leaps and bounds. Right here. I think this is the one where you parkour. Or, right? Wait. What? Oh, no. Just kidding. Yeah, this is the one where you parkour. Alright. Hello there. Fence? Parkour. Alright, cool. Back up we go. Actually, probably switch now. 6, 3, 9. 4? No, 4. 5? Oh. Oh, dang it. 8? No, 8. Nine. No, 9. 3. This should take us. Okay. It didn't take us to the crow's rest. Are you serious? Where the heck did this take me? Oh, right. I mean, that's fine. This the Pirate King thing. I know. You guys just gonna stare at each other? Okay, I see. You call something and you stare at each other. All right. We got 3. All right. If you're gonna spam and walk away for now and do this. Let's see. Breaking black scales. Black. Yes, I think it's these guys, right? Yes. Come along. Gather up. Thank you. Hello. Eight. There we go. For next week, I suppose. Let's see how our friends are doing. Let's go 3. Okay. They start. No. Still just chilling. One more. Just go. Go. Ready, set. Not it. Alright. Oh. There's a Justicar here. Nice. Always appreciate the casual soloing Justicar, you know? Not biased at all. The deep cut here is if you want to do solo quests, you have to Justicar, so very convenient. But there's a class that you have to tank. I personally prefer it. Oh, okay. Are we waiting? I feel like I have more of an appreciation for this type of game after watching like 2 weeks of World of Warcraft HC. What does HC mean? Hardcore? Wait, do they still use HC for hardcore? World of Warcraft has so many acronyms now, I'm not sure that still stands for hardcore. Okay. Yeah, hardcore is something else. I enjoy doing this. We're almost done with our dailies. Very obviously, Western fantasy is certainly the relationship between World of Warcraft, but this is like, this is as softcore as one can get because it's, I mean, you know, it's the Genshin experience, right? It's what the model that Genshin Hoyoverse plays off of. You go in, you do your dailies. Over time, you rack up all the assets, and then you reflect upon it. It's like, look at all these assets and pretty little things we've collected. Look, I'm about to go feral for Genshin the next 18 hours. Yeah, I notice. Well, you know, Discord provides. I like to look at what people are doing on Discord. Gongli banner. I see. You're pulling hard for him for your birthday? Oh, is it that same guy that you showed the boots of? Is it that same guy? Where are we going? Ritual. Okay, ritual. I don't know if it's the same guy. I don't remember the characters Genshin very well. That's the other guy on the banner? Oh, okay, okay. What type of weapon does your banner, the new banner guy that you're looking for, wield? A spear, perhaps? Maybe a halberd. Sadly, a polearm. One of your least favorite? Oh, I kind of like polearms. I basically named 2 polearms. 2 different polearms. And they call it could be like a javelin or a spear. There's many, but kind of like polearms. Your least favorite? So sword? What are your preferred weapons? Weapon type? I think a little personal bias after watching like Donnie Yen for quite some time now. I quite like sticks, pole arms, anything of that nature, like you call them a low, something. Just a plain stick is fine. I grew up on like things like your media presentation of like Shaolin monks and whatnot usually use sticks. You love the design of the sphere, to be honest. Partial to catalyst, but sword, claymore, then bow, probably. Huh. Intriguing. Yeah, I like halberds or like large bladed end polearm things. There's quite some elegance to having the mid-range things. Stabby. Like Guan Yu. I mean, I don't even know if Guan Yu is already Guan Yu, or maybe Guan Yu is in Genshin already. I'm sure if they are, it would sport that particular polearm I'm referring to. The one with the, I don't actually know what the formal name is. The one with the fairly long curved blade at the end of it. Not sure they would go as far as using names of like mythology or folklore kind of thing. Maybe create a character that's inspired off of it, possibly. Like Xiao Yong, three kingdoms characters. There, Guan Yu is a 3 kingdoms character. Usually. I'm not sure about bow. I don't know of any particular bowman in warring period that sticks out. Oh, like for example, a hero or like a character, a Chinese character that has a polearm most of the time is probably like Lu Bu. Speaking of Lu Bu, I guess a new Dynasty Warriors is coming out soon. Next, I think it's I don't know, the 20th game or something. Someone had some early access footage and they found it quite refreshing, the direction that they finally changed a little bit of the direction. Omega Force, I think that was the developer's name. All right. Not bad, not bad. Oh, I didn't finish my activities though. I was gonna say this was the quickest. 26 minutes. But I need to take out some folks for percentage. Maybe I'll follow the train and get the last activity. I'm 2% off for the turn in. So, oh wait. Maybe not. I don't know if I turned in the quest already. Nah, I think. Oh yeah, I didn't turn in the quest yet. Hmm. Weapons. Weapons. I'm thinking of weapons in the term of in Hades, right? Hades, the Supergiant game one, there's quite a lot of weapons. And I definitely like the spear, the javelin, and the bow. So I'm more of a precision piercing kind of character player, I suppose. Oh, swords are okay. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to turn that in. Dang it. Now he's gonna be off by 1. That's actually kind of annoying. Yep. I turned the wrong one in. Alright, we'll fix that next week. Alright. We completed it. All good. Now let's go see if we can pick up a dungeon run or 2 before we wrap it up for week 4. Not bad, not bad. 1.5 hours. Averaged 30 minutes per tune. Alright. Let's see if we can get into some trouble here. Any brave souls? We'll pretty much take any. Really. Alright. Get our battle pass. Finish. Nope. Could hop in. Oh no, I already did all these things, huh? Yeah, we're gonna wait. All right. Don't mind a master run either, so the timing is not auspicious. It's 6:52 p.m. local time. So largely this would be kind of getting into the low activity, the start of the low activity. We'll take whatever is available. Dinner. Where's my dinner? Actually, I have. Guess we can. Lovely wedding after wedding letter. I forgot what it's called. Like attendance wedding letter. So what can we talk about while we wait? I could organize my inventory. That's always a lot of fun, right? When you're waiting, let's organize the inventory. I don't think this guy needs any organization. Okay. Get all these boxes that are, oh, I guess I can lock this on here. Sure. Um, already opened. Really nothing very exciting. Don't have to organize anything. Looking pretty grim. I'll take anything. Any activity. I did get some drops from masters, but they ended up not being paladin drops. As per usual. The unrewarding nature of getting loot that's not linked to your class. Come on, folks. Let's find some brave souls. Where are you peeps? Huh. You know, I'm actually kind of curious. Wait. Hold up. How about we do all three of these? Okay. No brave souls. Always wondered if these queues are ever used. Occasionally, like there's a group organizer, right? Someone who hosts, and they accidentally queued up in the public area. So I check every once in a while, like they add this functionality in there consistently, but it really doesn't do anything most of the time. No. Okay. I've had a few kind of fun encounters that way before, where maybe occasionally they're like, someone had to drop and they were gonna look for someone, but they accidentally queued into a public thing. I would just randomly drop in, like, oh hey, hi. I don't really know what is it that why they would do this thing at all. Oh, I just realized the only way I was able to do advanced master's dreg sanctum was because we were in a private queue. I don't even have a 105,000 item level. What the heck? Wow. Hi. Don't even have that. I mean, would be another thing to get a little bit more. Okay. Food's in the oven. What are you having today? Oven. Is it a pizza? What do you have going? What do you have ovening? Pork chops. All right, solid. Yeah, it's looking like it's not going to happen today. What's today? Monday? Yeah, Monday is pretty terrible. Someone wants to do advanced layer of the Mad Dragon, looking for a healer and a CW. I mean, we might as well do that, I suppose. Hold up. Let's wait a little bit. I would take anything at this point. We're freelancing here, as per usual. Freelance. Come on. Say it one more time. For the record, I'm looking at a chat box. I usually obscure the chat box. Common courtesy of both directions. Okay, they managed to find a healer. Fine. I don't play a wizard. Hopefully they found that wizard. Yep, they're still looking for a wizard. Have our snack. Oh, Claire, what do you have going in your day? Yesterday I had an interesting conversation with someone that made me reflect upon how common it is how increasingly common it has been where people would say something is incredibly terrible or incredibly great, and not really much far in between, when the following comment that I have, they would say something like, to be honest, I didn't watch the whole thing. So it made me thought about, I wonder how often that's true. You know, you start thinking like, oh yeah, this was the worst. Like, oh yeah, I know, like that one scene. Oh, I can understand this. And then suddenly the person's like, all right, chill, chill. To be honest, I only saw the first episode. Oh, okay. I guess that's understandable. I find myself progressively saying that a lot of times. Like, I tend to watch things and experience them before making a comment. And then when I make a comment and I initiate that topic, I tend to be well informed, or at least try to be more informed. And you always have that very awkward moment when you start talking about something, both favorably and unfavorably, in detail, and then the next thing you have from the response from the other person is like, oh, no, I'm the word that they were looking for is they're indifferent to the thing, as opposed to it's terrible, because you can't actually really believe that someone would take your word for it if you didn't experience it, right? So that was kind of the thing I was lingering on yesterday when I was reflecting on a conversation I had yesterday. You went to Lowe's, looked at plants, went to Applebee's, slept. Huh. Did you manage to get something at Lowe's, at plants? What particular choice of fauna did you look at? It's an interesting time of year to be looking at plants, Blair. Are you thinking of starting planning for next spring, like the coming spring? And an Applebee's. What's Applebee's like these days? Like, what do you usually get at Applebee's? I haven't been to Applebee's in a while. It has often been like a point of nostalgia, where like Americana or Costco Americana affair. And I imagine you slept well. I feel there's something about, not sure if you can empathize with me here. I feel like sleeping, it's a wee bit better during like the cooler seasons. See, that's what your husband said. I always want plants during winter. Horrible time to do that. Had a club sandwich, fries, and green beans. That sounds scrumptious. Sandwich was way too much. Ooh, what type of sandwich was it? You were eyeing a bonsai. Oh, okay. That is definitely a all seasons type of thing. Interesting. I think bonsai keeping is a very it's a very interesting activity. Maybe very therapeutic. Have an indoor like bonsai place. A comfy place for a bonsai. Yeah, usually when I think about people looking at eyeing plants during the winter time, are people that are interested in like planning out their spring crops, like things that they'll do in their vegetable gardens and fruit gardens. Well, not really fruit gardens, but maybe starting something for the long game. Vegetables, on the other hand, pretty quick. Lowe's has a greenhouse, so they keep a better range of plants in stock compared to Home Depot. Ooh, interesting. I haven't stepped in either. Good to know. I almost had to take my jacket off. It was so warm. A nice greenhouse. You still have your hopes up for your banana pepper plants to grow through the winter. It's not dead yet. Ah, is it outside or is it indoors? You have like a maybe like a makeshift tent. It's indoors. Okay. Hopefully your banana pepper in a pot. I see. Hopefully it makes it through. Oh, home raised banana peppers. That actually sounds pretty delightful. Let me read. Nope. Yeah, no dice tonight. Yeah, this evening looking pretty slim pickings. Sunlight is the biggest issue, so you're probably gonna get a grow light. Yeah, yeah. Quite convenient. Grow lights. I imagine you have like a place maybe in a garage or like a separate room somewhere where you can keep the guys going. Now we live in a second story apartment. So it lives on top of your fish tank by the window. Okay. Okay. Found a bug. If you have a certain thing, maybe anything, in your outflow bag, and you filter your inventory, it still shows up. Maybe it's just an unexpected behavior, but not necessarily a bug. Sometimes reading comments takes some mental gymnastics. Hmm. We'll give it till 7:30. Till 7:30. Maybe do a random queue. Call it a day. I suppose when the expectation is that of an individual, not the true expectation, and that individual's expectation doesn't align with the superior force's expectation. I suppose when the expectation is that of an individual, not the true expectation, and that individual's expectation doesn't align with the superior force's expectation. In what world is that intelligible? Alright, just a thought, and I concur burritos, but also gizmo. Oh, the person is actually deliberately trying to type nonsense as a form of humor. Sounds like a very appropriate type of humor for the post-millennial era. And I can't say the next 3 comments because it's a bannable offense. Interesting. This is not a mirror Posey. It's a chat room. Oh, Posey is the guy's name. This is not a mirror Posey. It's a chat room. By the way, I don't know if this stuff happens in World of Warcraft at all. It feels like there might be more higher stakes in Warcraft because if Blizzard bans you, that kind of sucks. But in live service games, this stuff happens a lot where since there's no monetary investment, right? No monetary investment, you can make as many accounts as you want, and then you can, there's no consequence, no loss in, or no apparent loss in an investment in time and whatnot. So oftentimes public chat becomes a forum, if you will. And when that person says it's a chat room, then they're more referring to you have the liberties to say anything and any thoughts you want, and because you don't lose anything, right? Because of the anonymity, these things. I don't and it happens a lot in very specific live service games, since I do play quite a few live service games over the course of my experience. Not sure if that plays into anything. Where, like, say you go on Final Fantasy 14, for example, and there is a measurable, however inaccurate it may be, or sentimentally inaccurate, there's a measurable amount of time which equates to a measurable amount of money, right? In both WoW and like Final Fantasy 14. So how much of that may pre-select someone to following the decorum and the behavioral regulations, moderations of the game's platform, right? However, if you go to a live service game, here's the deep cut here. Live service games, and we're not talking about only MMORPGs here. We're also talking about Call of Duty or like Fortnite, things that are live service forward, but they're freemium games, right? Because of the low barrier of entry, there is less tangible or perceived loss when one misbehaves. So consequentially, a lot of times the response would be, well, what's the worst that can happen? I lose my free account, right? So I have often wondered, since the shift to a predominant live service model, has moderation become drifted so far out of line due to the lack of perceived consequences, right? Oh, great, they IP banned me. I'll just go play another free live service game, right? This was not the same behavioral pre-selection when you decided I'm going to play World of Warcraft like 15 years ago, right? That kind of thing has I thought about doing like an essay or like some sort of writing on that, how pre-selection, how this type of pre-selection and decision making actually filters into many different things. I'm only using video games right now as like the prevalence of live service models as an example, like a case study on decision making and behavioral reinforcement. So like, for example, if you go to a forum, if the forum required you to do something like validate your ID, in what way will that pre-select people into being cautious and procurious and diligent about their investment in the forum? Because right now, popularity and popularism in the industry is ran by how low of a barrier they can make their product, right? And what is lower than free, no strings attached, sort of, an obscure TOS, and deal with it as it happens kind of thing. It's like, oh, I don't read the TOS. I don't do any of this. I assume that whatever they do, I can't be punished for it, right? There's no pre-selection for that. And it's interesting how people respond when they do get punished for it occasionally, or be surprised when it's difficult to enforce a TOS and enforce consistent standardized punishment for violators and repeated offenders, when the whole point of the platform is to lower that barrier. Actually, you have no idea WoW has a system for that. Wild West out there, it's been ages since I've played anything with stakes like that. Yeah, I've been contemplating about this. Like, oftentimes I think you might be thinking, all right, well, games, they're not really part of your regular lifestyle. It's like, well, yeah, they're not part of my personal lifestyle. Like, it's not predominant. I don't spend every waking hour staking my life's legacy on video games. This is not the same anymore, right? I am a product of the pre-era of this. Now we're thinking about how to normalize behavior. Some people would say, oh, it's no big deal. Video games don't affect your behavior and whatnot. This came from a time when video games were largely single player, and they also have monetary investments, and people who came into this have critical thinking and life experience. Now we're talking about people who normalize the behavior that they do most often. What is the most often activity that's part of the lifestyle now that leaves the most impactful, passionate memory? Video games. So in what way is it consequential to note that when someone says, oh, it's no big deal, we're always toxic to each other on a video game, would reflect to a point where, oh, there's a connection here. You are toxic to strangers too, because it's all right to be toxic to your friends, right? And it's not to say that they have ill intent. What is perceived as toxic by someone who did not grow up with that lifestyle versus someone who thinks it's normal to be that way. And that got me thinking about the interface. Neverwinter is a product of two different communities. So, like, two different phases. And there's the old guard, where they will start talking about politics, religion, things like that, where there's a way to navigate them, right? There's a way to navigate them largely due to the nature of how chat was before. But in comes someone who is new, the occasional person who is younger, like less than 20 years old, and they ask innocent questions, questions of like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? And in before that, the old guard would have this unintentional insensitivity to the lack of critical thinking that's involved. Like, someone would ask, how do you find out what the next quest is? And then, someone would say like, well, you look in the journal. Like, did you even look at what's in the game? Like, the game explains this to you, that kind of thing. So it's not like, in a way, it is insensitivity between the two groups, but not from a malicious standpoint. It's one of those like social norms. One of the social norms and expectations of older gaming people is the idea like, well, the game probably explains that to you. Have you explored the game before you ask a question? Right? Because the design of modern games, contemporary live service games, is to make it as vibey and chilling as possible. So you hit a button. I mean, low key, here's a hot take. One of the most engaging games that have one of the highest playtime is a game that is operated by clicking one button the whole time, right? And then seeing things happen on the screen. You click one button, see things happen on the screen. So it's one of those things, it requires a mindset change nowadays to really ascertain how behavior is a consequence of what is at stake, in my opinion, and what behavior is normalized. In this game, it's kind of a mixed bag. You'll see the interaction between someone who is older, coming from a different age, and then someone who is newer. And the conversation tends to be they're talking at each other. Like, I'm only asking an innocent question because I don't know what to do. And then the other person's like, well, the game explains that. Why don't you read? Right? I'm paraphrasing. Words are a lot more belligerent and insensitive than that. But basically, it's someone expressing that they typically play games that are more explicit, explain everything, hold your hand. And then the old guard is like, well, you can figure it out. You have a brain, right? Don't you play games to figure out and learn things? So you're just having two groups yapping at each other in a large dichotomy. Obviously, it's not always this extreme, but there's variances and degrees of this type of conversation. And the reason why I say this is when we're doing our language learning sessions, right? Like when I'm doing Duolingo and stuff, I have this conversation. It looks different. Like the semantics and the context is different. But I have this discussion every single day with someone. It might look different. How does it look different? Someone say something like, oh, is this the only way you learn your target language? The answer is no. To make it sound more like the thing I'm talking about, I would say something like, well, you do know that language is very difficult. And of course, no one, quote unquote, no one is expected to only use one tool, right? And then the other person's like, no, I heard there are best things, things that all you need is that to learn a target language. I'm like, and then, from an older age, it's like, that's not true. The reality is that's not true. I hope you didn't buy into that. However, I don't go about making it sound like it's a condescension. Like, sometimes you can be so stuck in your own vacuum that when you really meaningfully want to tell the truth or intently being informative, it also reveals how little you might know about the person you're talking to, right? So nowadays, whenever I ask someone something or someone asks me something, it's like, tell me a little bit about yourself, right? I need to know who I'm talking to. Even 5 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, that's still more than zero, right? Zero. So when you ask a question and someone prefaces, it kind of helps. However, prefacing doesn't happen with the newer generation anymore. It happens with an older generation, an aging generation. So, like, for example, I'm sorry if I might seem out of line here. May I ask, and you move on, right? A newer, inexperienced generation would not require or don't habitually use prefacing because they may honestly, innocently lack the experience to consider these preferences. And it is for the more experienced, in my opinion, person to understand that is a telltale sign of inexperience, so one can be more efficacious considering those things. You don't have to be. It will reduce your likely chance of having a successful communication session, and that's the way of it, in my opinion. I think a vast majority of communication is both those who have privileged information tends to withhold and hold the responsibility on those who do not have privileged information, and then the privileged information, those who are not privileged of that information are innocently ignorant in a sense that they are cultured and normalized in a different scape. So, like, and this happens even within the groups. So, say like someone learned they beat Elden Ring, for example, and then another person comes by and say, "Oh, how do you do this?" It's like, "Well, just beat the game, forehead." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like that conversation. So it still happens within groups and whatnot, where there's a complete lack of empathy when there is a startling contextual or objective difference that is tangible between you and the other person. So, like, for example, someone has 5 years of experience, someone has 1 year of experience. So inadvertently, when someone says, as someone who has worked in the field for 5 years, they say whatever, and then they ignore the empathy needed for someone who has 1 year of experience, and vice versa. Although the 1 year of experience couldn't possibly, in reality, have encountered more than the 5 years. Most of the time, there are times where people would spend 10 years doing the same thing versus like 3 years doing different things within a discipline. That's very rare nowadays. Usually it's about owning the same routine. As with that said, though, it is really, that's what Neverwinter is like when you're reading these type of comments. Your Japanese is actually getting better. Oh, nice. I'm glad to hear your Japanese is getting. I look forward to using Wanikani. Actually, I've gotten myself excited. Actually, old versus new guard is interesting to see interaction wise. You've encountered that? I see. Has there been like a shift in two different groups in actually Genshin Impact doesn't have a public chat, does it? Where like, yeah, sure, it's a quote unquote solo game, but there's like a world chat where people can ask each other things while they're playing? Or is it like a hub situation where you have to actually select yourself into a hub or a Discord or something that acts as a hub? This game does not. No world chat. That would be kind of nice. Maybe that would be kind of nice, Blair. So I play PSO2 NGS. PSO2 NGS, and they do have like hub chats and world chats. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Oh wait, we might have some peeps here. We might be getting a run here. Let's see. Looking for one ADS heal boss farm. That doesn't say how many bosses they're doing. Nope. Just want one run. Come on. Come on, folks. They do have a Discord for all servers, though. Oh, okay. That more or less substitutes for the hub. Since since the days of like Warcraft Vanilla, right? Not Warcraft Classic, but the Vanilla Warcraft, about more than a decade ago. Maybe more than 2 decades ago. Yeah, more than 2 decades ago. Ish. Getting close. Chat has changed so much, the nature of chat. In these types of open world chat enabled games. There's so much dictation and projection of what is normative and what is not. Yesterday I had a discussion about the perception of xenophobia, like remarks from a closed community to an outside community and whatnot. And conflicts in communication often starts with, oh, it's normal. Not in those words, but people speak as though they start by projecting what is normal to someone when there's a miscommunication. Like, for example, when there's a conflict, right? A conflict of interest. Like, for example, I like this show, and then the other person says, I don't like this show. The first thing to resolve this conflict is someone will explain why the show is likable to the other person, and then the other person will start by saying why the show is unlikable to the other person, as opposed to asking the other person, why don't you like may I ask, what is it that makes you dislike the show? So instead of inquiring about the conflict of interest as a first step, they project what they have to express. And that can work if one of the individuals are listeners. Like, it works for me because it saves me the probing. I don't have to interrogate the person. Most of the time people find these as interrogations. Like, if I ask them a question like, oh, okay, you don't like the show, may I ask, like, is there anything particular, or have you thought about why you don't like this show, right? And then the person would back up and avoid the question and continue to talk at the person or at me, like, oh no, it's just terrible, like everything's all wrong. It's like, okay, can you be a little bit more specific? Like, I want to understand what is it particularly so we can talk about it, right? Like, there's something interesting there. Maybe there's a very particular aspect that we can talk about in detail, not necessarily focusing on the idea that you really hate this. I actually even want to know if you actually watched the show. And a lot of times what it comes down to is this person vibed. They weren't even attentive. They didn't indicate to me that they were attentive in their experience. They said, oh, it feels wrong, and that's that. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I can't feel what you feel, so I guess that's the end of the discussion. Like, it ends there. Like, two people feel differently about something, and that's as deep as the conversation gets. It makes for very, very weak interpersonal skills, in my opinion. Like, if your baseline activity on how you interact with anyone is to say, I feel this way, it's great. First of all, it's very brave. I want to acknowledge that person is, that's more than saying absolutely nothing and then having passive aggressive behavior towards a person. However, I think the next step in order to form communications, whether that other person understands your intent, appreciates it or not, a person practicing that makes them more likely to get their point across, right? Get their point across, understand what works and what doesn't work, and then have more people able to understand them over time. And that type of like efforts, it's not worth your time thing goes away, in my opinion. It tends to go away due to normalized practice. So can I explain how I feel about a particular show? Yes, and I'll do it every single time if someone is willing to listen in detail, as long as usually the other person quits before me at this point because of selective behavior, right? People don't sit down and actually analyze or think about what makes them upset a lot of times. I'm focusing on being upset because there is a lot of power and usefulness in it. If you stop asking yourself, why do things upset you, then having another person ask and then trying to get you to explain and analyze these things, you can better your life, right? There's quite a lot of win-win situations when you can get someone to encourage themselves to be more attentive about their life. Sometimes when I hear people say, oh, I hate this, I hate that, this is terrible, and then they name like one thing that's good. My thought is, okay, let's not like, it's nice we could focus on the one thing that's good, but now I'm kind of interested in if they understand why they hate so many things, as opposed to liking a lot of things or understanding a lot of things. A lot of times, in my opinion, a healthy person would distinguish between being indifferent, as in, oh, I'm not interested in. That's probably why I feel neutral about it. Instead, it's rather you hate it or you don't. And oftentimes, when you ask someone why you hate the thing, it would be some general response like, oh, everyone thinks this is hyped and it's overhyped. And like, that doesn't, I don't know. Like, are you telling me that you don't like overhyped things? And they're like, no, no, it's just that one thing. And I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question. Like, I'm not entirely convinced you know why it is. And if you're saying it's not about the overhyped thing, then why do you tell me it's about the overhyped thing? It's like, oh yeah, this is overrated. And like, so you just don't like things that are overrated? How do you determine that's overrated? Like, well, lots of people like it and they always go on about it. It's like, so does that make the thing bad because lots of people like it? To go, yeah, because so on, so on. They would say something like, popular things, not all popular things are good. Like, well, yes, but there are popular things that are good as well. Have you considered the possibility that you're choosing to dislike something not based on the qualities that you fail to tell me about, but the idea that you're not part of that group, or you're not able to join in liking something mutually, right? There's a lot of difference between FOMO guised as constructive criticism versus constructive criticism out of indifference, and also constructive criticism out of mutual respect. So like, you can experience something that you dislike, however, still come about it with a constructive take on it. Like, here are the aspects that I feel, and these are the examples that I would prefer. Instead of saying, oh yeah, things are overrated. Okay, so how are they overrated? Like, well, lots of people like to hype it. Yeah, that is what overrated means. Like, that's, I get the feeling already on that. It's like, what aspect of it is overrated? And they would describe the show. I'm like, I don't see how that's overrated. It seems like it's something that would be common to something you would like, right? Like, things, you have situations where you ask the person, can you describe something that you like? And then they would describe something that is terrible, right? That they think is terrible. But the thing that they describe that is terrible fulfills a lot of the criteria of the things they like. So then I asked them some more, and eventually they would stop talking to me because they would find that it's too serious. It's like too deep. And I'm like, that's very disappointing. I would think when you have such a visceral reaction, right? You're really upset or you're really happy. I would think that you would be able to at least apply some effort, right? It is very unfortunate that people go around thinking things are terrible for reasons they don't really comprehend about themselves. I'm not saying it's a gain for, I'm not concerned about a gain for the community or a gain for myself. Personally, I think someone who lives that lifestyle may be missing out on things that they think they're missing out. not myself. Like, I don't even have to prescribe something. Someone goes around and say, I watched the first episode and everything's terrible because all I ever thought about is all the things that are missing in my only vision of the world. I'm like, okay, sorry to hear that you couldn't enjoy something that was related to what you liked already because you chose that it can only be that thing. Fair enough. Hello there, Valentine. Angelic Chad, Destroyer of the World. Yeah, I made this guy as green as possible. So there's thing about this race, Azamar, they're allowed to have different colored skin. So I figure we go with something crazy, right? This guy's a paladin, so we had to make him look properly like a paladin. Azamars are, I guess, kind of like demigodish. So yeah. And we had to make him as a square as possible. My other character is tiny and short. Very, very tiny and short. And he happens to be a barbarian. We did a little bit of funny role-playing in juxtaposition. How are you doing, Valentine? I'm kind of passing the time right now looking at queues, but I think we're not going to find a queue here. Returning after 9 years, looking for active guild to help learn from. Okay. Hopefully that person finds a very acceptable place. Yeah, doesn't look like anyone's running dungeon today. We can do like an advanced dungeon queue to end the day. I was reflecting on Valentine when you showed up. I was reflecting on a conversation I had yesterday with someone about how people make comments about what they like and what they dislike, and then they list the things they like, but when you start to expound a little bit, just a wee bit of more detail on the thing, it turns out that there's an exception. There's a very strong exception that tends to be miscommunicated on first impression. Things like oh, I played this game for 30 minutes. It's terrible, unplayable whatsoever because, and then cite the following words. This character doesn't look like the character I imagined it was. Something like that. It's actually a little bit more egregious than that. It's more like I like anime, so any live action is not anime. It's like, well, yes, it's fundamentally not animation. Live action is not animation. Like, well, that sucks. And I'm like, okay. Like, it sucks for you, right? It's terrible for you. Like, you don't like that. It's different from saying it's terrible and it's garbage and it lacks everything animation lacks. It's like, well, I don't think it's there to lack something animation has fundamentally different, right? That's kind of one of those discussions. I'm good. Returning to exercising today. How did it feel? Oh, yeah, you already answered that. Feels really, really good. You were in the gym for the first time in 2 to 3 years, running on a treadmill. Nice. Wait, you went back to the gym. Hopefully you don't get sick, right? Isn't that a concern? That person is objectively wrong as Corey in the House is the best anime of all time. Boy, you're fighting with fire with that comment. The thing is, it's two different experiences, right? There's only so much you can compare apples and oranges. Now, I wanted to entertain the idea, so oftentimes I ask, so what are the apples to apples comparison characteristics that you're comparing? And then let's talk about the apple and oranges for a moment, right? So first of all, if your first criticism is that live action isn't anime, as in the live action is not animated, then that's an apples to orange comparison. So I like to believe that your decision making on quality doesn't hinge in totality on the fundamental differences between live action and anime, right? So I ask again, like, okay, so is there something that you find comparable between the two? And they're like, oh, they lack emotions and stuff. It's okay, are we going back to the whole the animation versus live action again? Because there is an incredible amount of nuance in live action acting. I think it's not the conveyance of the capacity of animation to convey emotions versus live action. That kind of thing, right? And then they could cite something. I mean, a fair thing would be, oh, the actors conveyed little interpretable emotions. Meanwhile, the anime did better for them. That's a reasonable criteria, right? That's a reasonable thing. And I was willing to take anything in isolation. However, it's conditions upon conditions. Like, oh, in a perfect world where every live action is live action. So over time, I tried to ask them, so what would make the live action better, right? Better for them. And they basically described an anime. And I'm like, okay, so you want the live action to be identical or nearly identical to the anime with a few exceptions. Doesn't I guess that's an impasse. You're not going to be able to enjoy that. However, I want to make a disclaimer to you. What the way you described it is a person that have very narrow taste, like very narrow culture. So, respectfully so, I cannot take your I cannot empathize, nor can you be a source of advice or recommendation on things you avoid and cannot characterize properly because you choose to think you know more when you don't experience them. That kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, all live actions are terrible because you experience them? And the answer would be a resounding no. Because it would be like, oh, I saw the trailer and it sucks, and then you go around echo chambering yourself to the high heaven. That's the life of conversation these days. It was a concern, but man, I'm also more concerned about losing all of your progress over the winter. I just can't run in the snow and the freezing temps. That's understandable. That's a rock in a hard place, Valentine. Well, have you considered, I don't know if there are any ways to like try to mitigate that concern, right? Maybe and this is not medical advice or anything, but there's always taking zinc supplements. So I've heard. It was a zinc. Or, occasionally trying to like do some preparatory measurements. Preparatory measurements to reduce the potential onset of colds, flu, until your constitution becomes better, I suppose. Hopefully. All right. So it is we spend an extra 30 minutes waiting on a queue, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Guess this is as good as a place to stop. I can hop into a random advance queue and see. Let's YOLO random advance queue. I'm sure the healer is the missing role. Certainly is. Let's hop in. Let's see what we get. Oh, Red Sanctum. And it's an empty instance. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Okay. Can we try again? Let's try again. Oh. Feels sad, man. Not even random. Kind of a odd way to end a Neverwinter stream, but this is kind of the situation with this time zone. I slept early yesterday. Got up a little bit earlier. It was quite nice. It was rainy today for the run. Wasn't too bad though. A lot warmer, interestingly enough. Okay. Give me something. You don't presently take any supplements or anything at all, so I could look into something for sure. It's a suggestion. I don't have any real world experience with it. I think the one that I found when it comes to like documented research related things, and case studies and whatnot, is usually zinc. Zinc is the thing. I don't think there are any other like prophylactics. So I would say, ooh, someone's looking for a DPS or advanced dread sanctum. Could switch very quick. Nah, I don't want to do. So yeah, I'm not sure what prophylactics are out there these days, and obviously, careful, take into consideration all of your safeguards on, because supplements can be a hairy rabbit hole, right? When it comes to promises. Hopefully you find some sort of prophylactic that can aid in your gym concerns. I feel getting ill is likely gonna make both of those situations worse, right? If you get ill, your concerns go up for being able to go to the gym, and then that concern about losing all your progress while becoming ill is probably one of the occurrences that will likely make that a guaranteed outcome. I don't think there are incredibly harmful things that accidentally do in terms of supplement. Don't not medical advice, of course. I haven't stepped in a gym in a while. I don't know what the gym environment's like now. Most of my understanding of the gym environment is through YouTube and social media, and I can imagine that's probably not the case. I watch like things about like the gym culture changing because of all the influencers or recording and whatnot, so there's a lot of friction in the current public space about that. You think for Christmas you'll just buy yourself an exercise bike to avoid the whole problem? A standstill bike? Pretty solid. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Alright, let's click on this and hop in here. Alright, let's see what we get. Okay, we got Layer the Mad Mage. Alright, let's go. Didn't even get a an advanced dungeon queue this time around. Slim pickings. This game. Slim pickings. It was pretty crowded. You went to a Planet Fitness. Everyone was sorta in their own space, which was cool. That's nice to hear. No one seemed to want to be bothered with anyone they didn't know, which is great. Yeah, that seems like a very healthy environment. Why can't I tab you? Glad to hear your gym environment is ideal. Especially at a Planet Fitness. I can imagine how crowded it is. I really liked the gym environment back in the day. Although I did spend most of my time on campus, right? On a campus. And I used the university facility. So lots of kids, you know, lots of younger peeps going about their thing. You don't think you would dare set a foot in there around 5 p.m. after the traditional workday ends? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You go to a university. What about the university facilities? Oh, Valentine. I imagine there might be like something about not being a full-time student or something. But generally, university facilities are, if they're well funded, right? That's a big if. They tend to be pretty well kept. I often like being at universities. I happen to have gone to a well-funded university during the later years of my career, so oftentimes you have like indoor tracks and whatnot, so they can run in or out, and students come and go. But if you're like someone who doesn't really have certain classes and certain time slots and whatnot, usually it's pretty steady state when it comes to crowdedness, right? Those classes are around the time. You do have a sports center thing? You've actually never been there? I see. You've heard there's a weight room, but there's got to be some machines and stuff. No way there isn't. Yeah. I think university is a pretty safe space. More consistent in my opinion. I don't know how like policies are done. A lot of times when you're like an attending person, it ends up being a lot more cost effective as well. If you're close to campus, obviously. If the commute is very, very long and whatnot, that kind of defeats the purpose of being convenient. You know, the 4 pillars, right? 4-ish pillars of habit formation. One of them is accessibility, or quote unquote all the things that deal with accessibility. Make it visible, make it easy, integrate it into your life. So if you're going to campus and stuff, oftentimes that itself promotes a desire, at least a visible stimulus, a cue to want to go to the gym. It's an underrated thing that I only appreciate it later in life. Why it's kind of nice to have a available sports center on campus. Not horrible. Planet Fitness is 5 minutes by car. University is 20 minutes. I see. And your normal running spot right out of my door. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Those are very convenient. Oftentimes, I even paired up my like in between classes. I would do like hit the sports center, wash up, then go to the next class. Like, you know, things that it's like, oh well, there's downtime between this. I guess I might as well go to the sports center. So over time, it became like, I have 5 minutes. I might as well go to the sports center. I know how ridiculous that sounds. Like, what? You just go to the sports center with 5 minutes? It's like, it becomes that habit forming, right? Like, oh yeah, like I could walk to class or I could jog to class. So then I started jogging to class. There was a time like after college years, my post-bac years, lots of people cycle, right? They like cycling. I'm like, I don't live that far away. Maybe I should buy a bike and like bike to work. That kind of thing happens over time. You start like not even thinking about it. It's like, oh, like one of the I know this is gonna sound a little bit cliche, but one of the things is like, yeah, it's only 3 floors. Let's go up the stairs, right? If it's like 14 floors, like, okay. It used to be like the cutoff is like, oh, it's going up 5 floors. Let's just take the elevator. And then it start getting lower, or it start getting higher and higher. It's like, it's only 5 floors. Let's go up the stairs. It's only 6 floors. Let's go up the stairs. And at some point, I think the cutoff ended up being like 10 floors. Like, okay, if it's 11 floors, I'll take the elevator. But if it's 10 floors or less, I'm take the stairs. Good old habit formation. Food acquired? Nice, Blair. How are the pork chops? Do you have a side with your pork chops? What are you having your pork chops with? Oh, we're doing random dungeon queue, so sometimes I pay attention, sometimes I don't. I might pay attention here. Green beans? Solid choice. If you want to know the classic fidget of MMORPG players is people hitting their space bars to jump around and then being an impediment to starting something. Yep, that jumping aspect. Spamming the spacebar. I've since found a great appreciation for people who are able to stand still. Yeah, WASD running or AD running. Like if you can spot a FPS player if they're doing this constantly. Easy telltale sign that they like strafing a lot. But they keep doing left right, ADing. Classic CS:GO or classic Counter-Strike influence. I used to do that. Oh, short one. Still a short one. That's okay. This is not to say that you can't do this, like jump around and do these things. I have since been able to find different ways of controlling my fidget. So my fidgets are different now, where like I find it very satisfying that I can legitimately stand in one place for a very prolonged period of... Oh, wrong button. Okay, I guess everyone's just going... Sure. Yeah, that guy's just gonna run around. There's something very elegant that I appreciate about a lack of wasted movement. Like, what I mean by wasted movement is excess movement. It's not technically wasted to the other person because they're probably fidgeting, right? They're doing their fidget. So, like, you don't have to move until you have to, technically. And there's some elegance in that, right? Like, I know I'm not gonna get hit here, so I'm just gonna stand still. You don't really need to, per se. And I've since been really appreciative. It's kind of like art forms. Like, I really like ornate art forms and chaotic art forms for sure. However, there's also a great appreciation for elegance and simplicity. Like, see, that guy didn't need to run that far, but okay. That's the type of movement that gets you whacked. It's to the point. Here's a interesting behaviorism that has happened in Neverwinter, especially with newer players. Sometimes when I'm like standing still a lot, someone would try get really angry and angsty that I'm not doing all I can to help the team, right? When basically you can do most of your actions without having to move when you don't need to. Like, you can do a lot of your things standing still. And there are things that I don't do because it's not going to change the outcome. Like, I can't change the outcome of that unit reaching this based on what I have at the moment, right? So we go do other things, like stand in the middle and keep everyone alive, even through the mechanics that they're failing to prevent, right? It looks chaotic. It would be very chaotic for someone who is not used to this. But everything's in order, right? Calm, collected. That's kind of the thing about angsty movements a lot of times. A little bit of both worlds, right? Get used to being calm and collected, and then also be frivolous and excessive when from time to time. It's a balance thing, right? I actually need my teammates here. I want to get frozen. Yeah, like no pressure. There's something very palpable when you practice being calm in calm situations. You know? You gotta be calm. It's one of those things that we kind of forget in a high hustle culture. I call it I haven't talked about this topic in a while. When you get so used in a hustle culture, you might forget how to slow down, right? And even in a hustling situation, like a very panicky, lots of things going on, one can still be very efficient, process a lot of things and do a lot of things without driving yourself through anxiety, right? One of the biggest, in my opinion, one of the things that you can try to do or try out is finding situations where you might be a little angsty, like anxious, like, come on guys, like, can we get going now? Like, you know, you just sit here jumping and waiting. It's like, but it's been 10 seconds, right? It's been 10 seconds. Try to find thoughts, you know, things that you can think about while you're standing there. Like, you could be standing there doing nothing and then blaming other people for being slow or whatnot, or you could do something in it. I like to think of sorry, had to cough. I like to think of things that I'm going to do, or, you know, thoughts about yesterday or whatnot, like live service games, for example. I would say things like, oh man, I lost 5 minutes. I lost 5 minutes here and there. But what I'm really thinking when I say uh, losing 5 minutes annoys me or is a little bit annoying, I have other thoughts while going about. So you can carry these thoughts with you most of the time. If you're waiting in line, I know how to occupy myself. So that type of natural fidget that happens that you can not process, you can choose not to process it, can become a bane. It can end up becoming a bane, double-edged. So this is why I don't think live service games are for everyone right now. If you're not very used to the idea of being patient, which I'm not saying, see, there's a difference. I want to make a clear difference. Being patient doesn't mean being okay with doing nothing. Being patient means being able to do things when the thing you're kind of doing is not going to happen yet. Right? Like, being diligent is what I would say a lot of times. Holy crap, I'm looking at theater showings and no way. Do I know Tommy? No, I don't. Waseo? What? I don't know who that is. What? Can you tell me a little bit about this Tommy Wiseau? Maybe? He has that person has a very interesting last name. Your cat says hi? Aww. Oh, hi to your cat. Which cat is it? Blair. Yeah. Give me like a 1 minute Sparks notes of who Tommy Wiseau is. Sam. Cute name too. Oh, Sammy, huh? Sammy's not the black one, right? He was trying to eat your food. Oh, I see. He's a giant meme known for making a terrible movie called The Room. Oh, that guy. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the name of the director? We're talking about The Room, like the adaptation of the Stephen King novel, The Room. Got a lot of memes that came out of it, such as the "Oh hi Mart" meme. Yeah, right. I think that's the same one. I only know of the criticisms of The Room. I think if we're talking about the same thing, I have not seen it myself. If that is the same room, the black one. Oh, Sam is the black one. I see. Well, do you ever give your cats pork chop, Blair? So tell me more about what this theater showing is. Are you saying they're showing The Room, Valentine? Is that what you're excited about? You're excited about The Room? If it's not seasoned, okay. I don't know. Is there certain types of seasoning that cats cannot consume? I'm not a cat owner, so bear with me. Gotta ask some questions. Are there particular seasoning that one must avoid? Accidentally, like involuntarily giving or unintentionally. You tend to stay away from garlic and stuff. Oh. It definitely wasn't an adaptation of the King novel. The Room is so bad it's good. Oh, that kind of thing. Like Birds. Have you seen Birds? I think the indie movie is called Birds. Oh, just like Birds. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know what it's about. It's such a broken film. What's so special is Tommy will be at the theater too. Oh, that's it. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, the when I think of it's so bad, it's potentially good. I think of the Birds film. I forgot who that director's. There was a recent one that I watched a video of. Was I think the guy's name is Philip something Phillips, Philip something. And he's kind of like the bird guy, where basically he's just like doing what he likes to do, and there's some wholesomeness to that. Like not there to fit the status quo, if you will. They just like making films. The bird guy was very serious though, like very serious about the room. I'll have to check that out. So the room, Ami. Oh wait, no, yeah, it is this one. But it's not a Stephen King's novel, really. Oh, but I did see this thing. Oh, I thought this was based on a Stephen King, but maybe not. It was. I thought it might have been inspired. I kind of remember memes about this. I agree. I remember the rooftop scene when he kicked in through the door. Okay, never mind. I was just making up the thing about the Stephen King's novel. I think I'm mixing it up with, what is it? Room something? Room 203 or room 237? No. It's room something. I think 237 is the Stanley Kubrick inspired thing. Shining, but it's something like that. Unfortunately, I'm not that well versed in Stephen King either. I think the closest thing to that type of thing is probably like Stanley Kubrick films. It's easy, actually. I hate the boar worm. It's easy, actually. New dungeons are really hard. The brain dragon at the end fight, you only have 4 crystals and one chance. Okay. They're having conversations. I didn't realize random group was having conversations with. Apparently there's sort of sequel to it, which he's showing off after, called Big Shark. Oh, that's interesting. A brief synopsis: 3 firefighters must save New Orleans from a shark attack. Wait. Is it out already? Because I saw... No, that can't be the same thing. What you call it? I remember seeing a clip of a land shark, but I don't think that's the same movie. Have you seen a movie with a land shark? I've seen clips about it. There's a movie that features land sharks. It's not the Sharknado things, but there is one, and it looks really, for say lack of a better word, it looks very bonkerish, like kind of something that the room director would make. It would be very wonderful if the guy stopped running into like a void space, which makes things a little tough. Oh. This is where excessive moving is it's a detriment. Like, this person chooses to go in random directions, and you're like, I prefer you to just stand still because you're not actually changing changing the outcome of the efficacy of needing to follow you around. When a person does that, there's a chance that it can clip the reticle. Gotta ban a bot. Okay. You think it's out already, but you have no idea where, when, or where it's shown. I feel like it might be the same thing. Yeah, the daily bot. Yay, daily bots. It helps me remind me that I'm still live on Twitch, you know? Like, how do you know that your stream is working when you get a bot selling you viewers? All the best and cheapest viewers available. That's when you know. That's when you know you're live. Positional awareness. I tell ya. Dang it! I wasn't out on the perimeter. Oh, it's probably... Okay. Alright. Yeah, it's that person being outside. I can... Why you do this? Why are you running when you're... Okay. Okay, my man. If we go into another phase, this could be a problem. That guy spends more time running around on the outside than staying on the inside. Yeah, we're not gonna get the boulders. That's a non-issue here. Oh, that's 2 dead. That's 3 dead. Alright. So we can't do this as one, so it's gonna reset. Since they all fell into the pit, right? Yep. Position awareness. And then the guy that doesn't understand this dungeon says, "This is why I hate the boreworm." That's confirmation bias. And then, you know, someone comes in and chimes in, "Just avoid the center." Like, confirmation bias. A great example of people talking at each other and not with each other. Or understanding what the commentary is. So, yeah. Here's one thing. Someone said, do you want to release now, you know, to start again? Or do you want to be kicked with the, like, a tongue, you know, emote? And my first thought was, you didn't even have to say the second part. And then now we have a bunch of impatient people. And then now we have the sigh. Yep. People making commentary at each other. Yep. It all starts with our tank making excess movements and getting themselves killed. But that doesn't excuse the guy that thinks he knows the mechanics and they're like running around with their with his head, like, you know, with the person's character, like like something terrible is happening, like their pants is on fire or something. For the record, the person who thinks that they know how the mechanics work was the first one in the ditch. So if they fall back into the ditch, I'm not responsible. I'll let you guess which one it is. I'm not getting the boulders. It's not it's okay. Maybe I can get a few. Yep. You might be thinking, "Oh man, my character has gigantic wings and it's a very large character model, right?" But you'd be surprised how hard it is. How how the how everyone runs away from you. And then, you know, the tank proceeds to run away from me, thinking that heals have unlimited range or something, and proceeds to jump back and forth in random directions, as though healing does not require targeting. That's solo gaming. You ever played a sport where like someone would like get angry at you for not passing the ball, but they spend the whole time making it hard to pass the ball to them? You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I was wide open. Meanwhile, there's three people standing right in front of them. It's like, I was wide open. Why couldn't you get me the ball? It's like, you see why? This is why we fail. This is why this is hard. Like, I'm not sure if I agree with you, but I'll give you the lowdown on what the conversation is right now between the player. So the player that's constantly making my running around excessively out of range is the player that says this boss is very, very hard, or like is annoyingly hard, but they're doing the one thing that's causing a lot of problems. And then the one person that says it's very easy, you just do this and that, is the one person that died first last time. And then the one person that is running around is our tank, and the tank apologized. That's all. Like, they're probably having fun, they're moving around and whatnot, right? But the one person that died first is trying to tell the tank that it's easy, you just have to do this stuff. But I think the tank is the one that's kind of bored. Like, the tank's done this a bunch of times, so they just want to run around like a goofball. Meanwhile, I say nothing because, I mean, it's apparent that they don't talk to each other. Adding more to this, you're not gonna really be adding more to this section if you say anything more than this. That's the dynamics of this group right now. This guy's gonna run around. Yep. You see? That's exactly how I miss multiple times. They decide, hey, you know, are they gonna stand still or are they gonna run around? And they decided to run around with no dangers in sight. I'm not sure why that guy is standing around. And if they die and saw that their health wasn't restored, their first comment was, "Dude, why didn't you heal me?" Meanwhile, they didn't notice that there were 3 circles that were like an inch away from their body over and over again. Also, healing is for those who don't play, healing is a limited resource. So when you lose your resource from, you know, missing a heal on someone, it means everyone else also dies in the process. This is your classic experience in these games. I think it's funny. I would have stopped playing this game if that wasn't funny or entertaining. This is largely a random queue environment, so if you're queuing with random people, typically it's a very typical dynamic. Nothing to be alarmed about. We'll get it eventually. Yeah, the guy that's standing outside is the guy that keeps triggering that annoying little rock thing. Yep. Just come in just a wee bit closer. Inch just a wee bit closer. Come on, guys. You can weave in just a wee bit. Oh, okay. You want to go? Oh. All right. Oh no, is it another phase? Oh gosh. All right. Go through 3 of these. That's fine. Go around. All right, who's first? So we look at the boar worm and we look at who they're pointing at, and then you find who they're pointing at, and then you hope that person doesn't constantly TP away from you, which obviously that person literally did what that is, constantly TPing away from the person who's trying to reach them. And then, you know, the other person is like halfway across, the perfect distance across the other side. Because again, they assume that healing does not have range limitations, right? So everyone is like exactly split in half. If you do this long enough, though, you kind of get used to it. No to straddle. That guy keeps yelling, hide, but you don't have to hide after the tank's initial targeting. Ironically, you walk around. As DPS, you walk around and not get hit by the red zones. Okay, walk in one direction. By hide, he means to use a clipping method where you clip along the wall there, along the door, and there's a void spot so you can't be targeted by the boss, which has been there for a very long time now. Since like since this room has existed, I suppose. I joke about this a lot, but there are DPS that have dodge moves in this game like that, and I can tell you that if I had $1 for every time a DPS dodges a heal, unintentionally dodges a heal, I could probably support this game with like a $100 purchase or something. That tank is still jumping. I enjoy making commentary about watching your other members do things. This is why you play cooperative games. Yeah, see the tank's bouncing around, but actually let's take a look. Does the tank have the movement item? Maybe they bothered in a movement item? No, they do not. So they don't actually do anything while running around, bouncing around. Actually, and this tank might be an alt depending on his enchantments. No, that's actually a new tank player. A new tank tune. What about this guy? New tune? New tune? New tune? Okay. So all of these characters are new tunes. As in like they might actually be their first tunes. The way you can tell is if you go and inspect someone, most of the time this tab here you can get grandfathered in due to resources. There is a chance they just didn't want to move their enchantments, or have an account bound enchantment. But usually that means all four of these players are new accounts, at least new accounts, newish accounts. Which is kind of nice to know. Like what I mean is it's lovely to see new players, or at least new tunes. You can't confirm that they're new players unless you ask. However, their equipment, not like the gear, but the enchantments. Oh, actually, this person is not new. Yeah, the guy that talks a lot, that keeps saying it's easy, that's not new. He has this tune has something that would suggest it's an alt. Yeah, even the artifacts would suggest that it's an alt. This person, less new. Newer-ish. Actually, they might be returning players too. I see some old things, like older legacy things, so they could be returning players. This person's definitely, that's an alt. It didn't want to move the rest of enchantments, or only want to keep one pair of enchantments on their main, but they're all alts for all intents and purposes. They are more likely to be all alts. the person that barking the order and saying it's not a big deal and doing just this, just that is the one that I could confirm for sure. That's an because of the enchantment that they have on. Like these two. These two are very expensive. And then there's some legacy enchantments. Legacy artifacts. This guy has one, but they might have recently acquired this. And then all of these are older stuff. And this person is definitely new. On the newer side. Although they could be returning because they have Black Ice overload slots. The tank is new. Yes, the tank is a new, at least a new account. Let's see how what happens here. I'm actually very curious what they're gonna do here. Yep, the tank is new. Okay. Obviously, I'm guessing. None of this is actually like real. Like I'm not really concerned or go out of my way to confirm any of my suspicions. It's part of playing and observing people. My favorite part about playing MMOs is to observe people and interact with people indirectly or directly. I don't know if people do this anymore. You know, when they see another character, here's a little bit of a deep cut when it comes to MMOs. Like picturing, understanding that the other players on this, like these characters are controlled by other people. Might be, some people might say like, oh, what do you mean? It's obviously another human beings behind the characters. And what I'm really saying is, I think oftentimes nowadays, while people might still logically think there are other people in the game, I don't think they treat people. They don't treat other players like human beings. As in, they don't think about, oh, what could possibly make them want to do this? Or, wow, that person seems a little upset. Perhaps you could say something to make them not less upset. That kind of thing. Most of the time, it's, I'm the main character. Why can't you serve my purpose? And I don't think that's intentionally malicious. It's more like, this is my game. I play video games for fun. If you're ruining my fun, then can you not? Right? That kind of thing. So oftentimes cooperative games no longer feel like it's people working together to solve a problem. It's more like, who is the problem? Or what is the problem? Right? I don't really mind that either, and sit there, watch how they conflict resolve. Ah! Okay, that's kind of scary. I don't want any of that. Okay. The tank dodge, stay, heal. Can't see the charge on that guy. Oh. I'm out of resources. That feels bad, man. Don't take a hit yet, please. Nope. We're gonna have to cleanse the discharge. No, not boss. Not boss. There's still one more scorpion, my friend. Not boss. Okay. Here we go again. Run around in circles. Oh no. Okay. Fine. Oh. Okay. Oh. Took a chonker to the back. Okay. Alright, so let me get out my cleanse. You can still do this cleansing thing. Where are you? Ensure that the guy lives. Oh, more cleansing. Who has... Nope. Where did you go? You guys went to three separate corners. Okay. I'm just gonna sit here, hold shield for sanctuary, I guess. That's not what sanctuary. Got one more, guys. One more. Go, go, go. I think they're okay. I think one of the people might end up dying. I'm gonna do this just so it's obvious that they're supposed to stand here. Okay, I mean, the other guy just wanted to stand outside, so never mind. Okay. Alright. Well, that's that. Okay. Can't tell who I'm linked to. Okay. There is still the thing about scorpions spawning, so yeah, it looks like they're gonna get it before the scorpions start spawning. Okay. Alright. Cool. Okay. Alright. We'll take our Astro D's. Head off. Alright. I guess that's a wrap for today. It's unfortunate that there aren't any Sanctum runs. No. Hold up. I'll give it 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Hearthstone. Hearthstone has an update to Battlegrounds today. Someone has already informed me. So we do a little evening Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Okay. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Alright, folks. Well, that's a wrap. You know, random queues, right? I quite enjoy it. It's nice to see maybe some new players still, right? New players tend to use these queues more often, like this internal queue system, and just don't know what you're quite gonna get. It is quite an experience. I like it. It's quaint, different types of personalities coming together. Obviously, for current content like Drag Sanctum and stuff, you won't be able to get into any queues without looking for groups. So that's a wrap for this. I'll try to bring another story for next week. We're gonna have something to talk about in the back burner while we try to wait. Yeah, 3.5 hours, not too bad, pretty smooth. Thanks for hanging out, folks. This week was a bye week, so it's pretty much average. It's a 5 out of 10, right? Business as usual. I don't think this changed substantially the format for week 4, right? Week 4. Next week we'll be able to see the conclusion of how you end up in a place like the Dread Sanctum, I think. Although Lair of the Mad Dragon didn't really explain that either, so maybe they'll leave it non-connected and it's like, hey, you're in the Dread Sanctum somehow for whatever reason. That's what happened on Lair of the Mad Dragon. I don't think it was explained at all in the lore, the flavor text, how one goes to Mount Hotnow and then suddenly got embroiled in the turf wars and then suddenly end up in a lair of the Mad Dragon somehow. So no idea. This is probably very similar. We'll see next week. So now we're off to language learning for the rest of the week, and I'll be back next Monday. We'll see if we can do it a little bit earlier. I need to start like 2 or 3 hours earlier to increase the likelihood of getting a dungeon run. We have to complete our dailies, which I hope will be shorter next week because we have milestone stuff, by 5 p.m. local time. I finished the routes and stuff around 6:30 p.m. so that's a little bit late after midnight across the on, so you tend not to find dungeon runners because of that. Anyways, 5 out of 10, business as usual, lots of casual conversation and chilling. I get to showcase what it's like, I suppose. I used to do this all the time. No VODs, obviously. I didn't store those VODs, but I used to do this all the time where we would spend the end of a stream doing random dungeon runs, queuing up with random people, like no communication, no pre-organization, and see how it goes. I used to have a partner in crime who was the healer, so we always queued as a tank healer pair, and that fills pretty much any role because there's always there's 99% of the time in excess of paying givers, right? So nowadays, soloing, it's quite a chill time. It allows me to test my perceptions, right? Test how to solve things. See how players continue to solve problems. The Dread Dungeon, the way the Dread Dungeon works as part of the random advance queue, as opposed to the normal, right? They didn't add the Dread Dungeon to the normal queue. They added to the advanced queue to increase the chance of it being successful. And even then, it looks like Cryptic slyingly did adjust. I think adding it to the random advanced dungeon queue, the Dread Sanctum, as opposed to adding it to the dungeon queue, which is a tier lower, was a very nice touch, because the random queue that I ended up in actually did really well, like sufficient. And the way they adjust the mechanics of the Dread Sanctum on normal, I think it's excellent. So but that is more a commentary on week 1 and week 2. Now we're getting into the late phase where what you see a little oftentimes is when a queue pops and you find out what dungeon it is, someone's going to leave, and then the rest leaves, and then it leaves an empty instance. So right now, the Dreg Sanctum often is an empty instance. Layer of the Mad Mage before the Boar Worm isn't the one that we failed, that failed once in that thing, is often left empty. The Infernal Citadel is left empty on the second boss. So those are the 3 quote unquote problem places, if there are any problem places. The other 2, Castle Ravenloft and Spellpike, I'm guessing Ravenloft is usually the first and the third, but usually the first, because you don't get to the third if the first is the problem, right? Just to cite a few things, I'm sure Cryptic has data on how often that is, but the Dreg Sanctum beyond that is very nice. So I actually quite enjoy the dungeon. I enjoyed most of the recent dungeons in their ways, and they're tactfully creating compromises to make it more casual forward. Now I think Layer the Mad Dragon is no longer a skip. So to make a little bit more commentary on the state of random queues, when a random dungeon queue lands on the Imperial Citadel, usually it's a 50-50. Everyone loads in, someone's going to leave. Like 50-50, one person is going to leave, then everyone leaves. A Layer of the Mad Dragon, same thing. It's largely due to the nature that the Layer of the Mad Dragon is longer by like 5 minutes ish. And Imperial Citadel is actually also longer by like 2 minutes ish on the average things. So when it comes to random queue, it's about efficiency, how quickly it is. So the likelihood of leavers is if the dungeon is new, so Layer of the Mad Dragon and Imperial Citadel, when you queue into this, there are immediate chances of leavers because it's longer than usual. So a lot of the newer dungeons, I don't necessarily think, you could say it's due to inexperience. However, I think they are in general a little bit longer. It's like getting slightly longer than all the previous ones, right? And then the Dreg Sanctum is actually not, it's relatively shorter like than these two, provided the team knows what's going on. And since it's on random advanced dungeon queue, that kind of increases the chances. Those who tend to do RAD queues tend to be a little bit more invested than those who do trial and dungeon queues. And I'm pretty sure they did that intentionally. You can get away with 100,000 AD, like more than 100k AD, which is your daily amount, by doing an RTQ and an RDQ. Or you can do a random trial queue and a RAD queue. That's also fine. Or you can do all 3. And generally the people who choose to do this tends to be more consistent. And that's largely due to the nature that this is listed as something that will take more time, right? So the psychological point of entry is that, but I would actually make an argument that the last 2 or 3 dungeons can be in a random advanced dungeon queue and then eventually rotate it out to the lower one. I don't know what they're going with this time. This is the first time the current dungeon is the more entry level, right? The normal dungeon is placed in random advanced queue. I think that's a nice little touch that is going to go underappreciated, in my opinion, by new players and old players alike, because old players would not concern themselves with this most of the time. Rarely do they queue for something that they don't expect. However, if they see it, it wouldn't make a very prominent impression. And then new players will still probably abandon this immediately. And it's largely due to what I was talking about earlier today, where impressions are made and then avoidant behavior sets in. So generally there are people who have privileged knowledge that aren't concerned about trying to complete certain things. They leave and then they organize, right? And then the people who are not privileged get a first poor impression, and the social status, the social normalized behavior nowadays is your first impressions means everything. So like 99% of the time, if it's a negative impression first, they will avoid it. So much like the commentary of the layer of the mad mage that we did, that one person who is clearly the newest based on inspecting the gear and whatnot is a person who says they hate this boss. And I reckon it's confirmation bias. The first experience they had was bad, so then all they can see are bad experiences. Like when we completed the boar worm, which was not that, like for me, we would eventually get it, that person said nothing, right? So it's not that, yeah, we completed it, and it's like, so it's not that bad. I feel like oftentimes it's confirmation bias. Whenever that person fails, they're gonna notice that the boar worm sucks, as opposed to all the times that it didn't fail, right? So this is kind of I feel the world, the gamers that we live with now, like this is the normalized behavior, and Cryptic is getting ahead of that, in my opinion. I think if there's anything to be said, increasing the pre-selection, constantly rigidly increasing pre-selection, removes and mitigates a lot of that first impression thing. I think personal development in a video game is expected to be guided nowadays. So like, hey, how high of an item level, for example, do you need so that that person, if they're successful, they still have enough experience to intuitively grow as a player, but do not handhold them enough that they don't grow at all. And I think that's one of the really, really big talking points on live service games, because while Cryptic is not responsible for the behaviorisms of people, the players are also not responsible. However, the players feel the effects of it. So if a game, like a live service game, explicitly handholds you through everything, right? And you spend, 3 hours a day of your 5 hours of free time playing a game, then that becomes normalized. So, for example, to make this related to something I do the rest of the day, which is language learning, people expect that the easiest way to learn something and the best way to learn something is have everything explained to you when you're needing to learn. Now, video games, those individuals, in my opinion, believe that largely due to an extension of how they interact with video games now. It is not true for those who self-select themselves into video games that aren't live service games that have this model. For example, people who are interested in FromSoft games, or there's pre-selection for that. If you don't like a FromSoft game, you are likely not in the pool of pre-selected people who enjoy learning through trial and error or learning through subtextual understanding, right? With that also said, you need money to buy into a FromSoft game to relate to something I spoke about today when I was talking about Neverwinter or reflecting on Neverwinter. Neverwinter is a freemium live service game. So the pre-selection is very, very low. And oftentimes, in order to attract people and keep them playing a freemium game, is to give them stuff, handhold them, and explicitly ensure their success. That success leads to a perception of progress, and that progress keeps a person playing, right? Duolingo, the language learning app that I've been using for a while, uses that. It's the gamification of live service. You provide a 99.9% comprehension ratio to ensure their success rate, and demonstrate like, oh, this is incorrect, but we'll still accept this response. That kind of set progression without a sense of failure is a way live service is able to rigorously and consistently provide motivation in a gamified way. And that's kind of what Cryptic is doing here in a sense, slyly. And I think it's very appropriate, understanding that they're not in the business of trying to cultivate various types of players, right? While that's well and good, I'm a consumer, so I'm not a developer. So I'm a consumer, and observing the behavior, it reflects the product. So when people talk about things, that's kind of how they talk too. Like, oh, this game is trash because it didn't explain to me how exactly this boss works so that I can prevent it from like making me fail. Like, this game is trash because everything's not broadcast enough so that I can't fail the first time I try it. Now, that sounds extreme. However, that's the behavioral expectations that would lead to negative first impressions. Like, if one did not have that type of expectation, one would probably not have such a abhorrent initial impression. Like, oh, okay, well, I failed the first time. Maybe that doesn't happen the second time or the third time. Maybe I'll try something different. Instead, most of the time now is that the expectation is that you are given all the information possible to succeed the first time. So if you are smart enough, you won't ever fail in a game. And then because of how long you haven't failed in a game, the moment you fail, tolerance is non-existent. So when someone fails and you've been successful, yes, you're a very seasoned person. You learned a lot over not failing. However, it does not normalize failing in a condition disfavorable to you. So what does that mean? You have a bunch of veteran, experienced players who cannot tolerate failure. So instead, they choose to avoid anyone who is new, anyone who is inexperienced, because they don't have to teach or risk the chance of failure to learn how to help people who aren't privileged. So then, in my opinion, then you get a segregation. Elitism and those who are new. And that is the current, in my opinion, that is more likely the normal case scenario in a live service game, right? You have people who've been playing consistently the game for however long, who are largely intolerant to failure of new players. And what's even more so is the idea that new players can catch up with veteran players, and that veteran players then become a little salty and try to use confirmation bias to diminish new players trying to catch up with veteran players. Like, oh, it wasn't easy back then, right? Like, for example, oh, they made it easier for you to catch up to me because I spent a lot of effort. That type of thing happens constantly in at least games like these, but I won't say too much more. I think earnestly, being aware of this, right? Being aware of this makes it so that expectations line up with people's current playing, and that makes for overall less negative experience, I would say. Like, I have no problems doing that boss over and over again, provided that everyone seems to know what's going on. As in, they eventually decide, oh, I realized this isn't working for the person who knew, and then the other person is like, oh, I didn't realize this is how that works, that kind of thing. So everyone's like growing together kind of thing, right? Otherwise, take it or leave it. I much like everyone else, you can choose to leave and be avoidant. That to me tells me that I shouldn't be if that's not the experience I wanted, I know now that that is the experience currently, right? I think that's one thing that people who play video games or have privileged positions feel not necessarily like intentionally insensitive. I feel it's more of a consequence that their environment is very normalized. Like, I'm really good at this game. Oh yeah? Can you take 4 new players through this without losing your mind and going unhinged? If so, then I find that incredibly impressive, and I would agree with you. Alternatively, if you lose your mind after one failure, then I know what you mean by you're very good at this. You're very good at this when everyone else is experienced, right? And you are very narrowly good at it, right? It's kind of like having a team built around you. You are the main character, the team builds around you. And ultimately, in that layer, the Mad Mage experience, it was 4 players doing their own thing, and they are all talking at each other, or they're behaving the way they think it's appropriate, and rarely did all 4 of those players have any ounce of communication with each other. They talked at each other. One person was barking orders, no one listened. The other person said they hate something, and they continue to say they hate something with no response to anything else. The tank that wanted to run around and do whatever they want continue to run around and do whatever they want. They apologize when they think they're doing something like inappropriate or wrong or failed to do something. They didn't. I had no idea what the person was apologizing for, and then their behavior didn't change. So I'm not sure if they were apologizing for anything. They just said, sorry, I screwed up, and then proceed to do the same thing. And then the last person made a commentary on waiting. So they were impatient, so they didn't want to wait anymore. It's like let's go, let's keep going. So that to me summarizes a lot of the way people interact online right now, which is not to say it's a bad or a good thing. Raise awareness, right? That's how people talk these days. You talk at the person. You don't talk with the person. Like, oh, hey, what do you think we can do differently? No, it's do this. That's how I always done it. It's never failed me before until now because you guys don't know what the right way of doing things are. That kind of thing. And meanwhile, the other person is like running around saying, oh, I like this game, and just enjoying while not knowing that there's also 4 other players interacting with you or you have to interact with, right? Anyways, that's probably the sentiment I want to end on today. So weird. It's a weird world we live in right now. And no short of surprises. All right. Thanks for listening to my yip yap, my chit chat, or my monologue. I'll be back next Monday. Hope everyone enjoys their live service games, the way they communicate with each other, have close friends, families, a mix of everything. And then your live service experience. I don't think this type of live service experience is going away anytime soon. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I think trying other forms of gaming is probably a wise choice, or you can choose to understand it and then work with it, right? Or try to mitigate it. Anyways, if you're gonna watch this later, thank you. I always appreciate that. Feel free to come and join. The next couple weeks are much like this. There really isn't a lot of new content following the 4th week. So once we get through the milestone, every Monday is going to be a chill session. We'll do some dungeons at the end, reflect on life, usually is talking about live service games because Neverwinter is one. So feel free to come by, share your thoughts, your experiences with live service. It's always great to be more informed. And another take-home message from today's yip yap was that being able to concisely and elaborately detail your dislikes and likes to another person in a public space, that's actually a very useful skill, and usually it's kind of more desirable if you do it in a situation where it isn't very important, right? So practice when, and then when it matters, when it truly matters, like trying to help someone feel good about themselves because they've been suffering, a loved one that's in grief, a friend that is very depressed, that skill comes along really, really well. Like, it is a very wonderful skill to practice. And what more perfect place than vibing along with a live service game where everyone has less stake in it. I know it's an oxymoronic thing. Usually people try to step up to the challenge when there's a lot of stake in it. However, for me, I think practicing a skill that's so pertinent to interacting with people around you when the stakes are low can be very beneficial. All right. So I hope until next time, everyone stay healthy, take care of yourself. Keep on doing the things you need to do and maximizing the pleasure and rewards of the things you want to do. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.